obsessed with the Connie Pheiff Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Pheiff Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Pheiff.
Hey everyone, it's Connie Pheiff, and welcome back to the Connie Pheiff Show. And this week we have a phenomenal guest. When I started looking at some of her background, some of her information, I thought, boy, this is going to be a conversation. I know I could be talking about this for hours and hours and hours and hours. So let me just jump right in by introducing our guest. So today we have with us, she's an author, she's a speaker. She's a media personality. She's an entrepreneur. She's a coach. And most importantly, she is a forgiveness expert. Welcome to the Connie Pheiff Show, Kyonna F. Brown. How are you today?
I am doing exceptionally well. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm thrilled you're here. Now, I know today the topic is discussing forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you know. When I put your name in, when I went out searching, because I stalk all my guests before they come in, I'm a stalker. But I want to know who you are, and I want to know what you do and the work that you've done. So I went out there looking, and I typed in your name, I typed in forgiveness, and up pops Oprah. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm having like a superstar in my show today. So again, the one thing that I really captured me, besides that, of course, was that how you talk about that, at some time in our life that we could be in a mental prison cell.
Yes.
And because we don't forgive ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, okay, we can talk about this. But what if you were to share then again with our listeners, what does that mean?
Well, I call it mental incarceration. And this derived from me actually being in a prison cell. I was actually incarcerated for 4 years of my life due to just really, really bad choices that I made in my life. Mm-hmm. Even relationships, but it all stemmed from an earlier mental incarceration. I was incarcerated well before I had actually had physical chains, physical cuffs, and the physical bars in front of me.
Yeah.
And it all stemmed from my mindset, the way that I thought, my perception of things. And really, it was the relationship with my father. I wanted to have a closer relationship with him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get that. And so I kind of pretty much blamed everything that happened in my life on him. I was in relationships that I shouldn't have been in. I started to use drugs, alcohol. I was going out to the clubs and just anything and everything that is the total opposite from how I was raised is what I was doing. But it was all because of a lack of love. And it was my mindset that shifted. Now we think about when we grow up, right? We are all taught what love is, right? We're taught how to communicate. We're taught what to believe, what not to believe in.
Right.
And so those figments of imagination, I like to believe, because I don't believe that everything we're taught is actual facts or truth. It enabled me to not live in a mindset of freedom because I had adopted what society says a parent is supposed to do. I had adopted what society says a father is supposed to do. And in that relationship, I learned over over the years that, when I was in prison, my father had a drug addiction. And so everything that he did not do was a result of the toxicity that was inside of him, not allowing him to be the person that he naturally was. And so because I had all of those beliefs and those learned behaviors that a person is supposed to do, I then placed that on him. And as a child, we necessarily don't know how to truly communicate. Some of us will hold things in. For me, I took to childhood obesity. The way that I expressed myself or found some type of relief was to eat. I felt better when I ate. And so the way that I felt, even in today's world, the way that I feel, it resembles how I look on the outside. I say that I'm addicted to food, right? And people say, well, how do you know you addicted to food? I said, you can't see the reaction on my body. I have an allergic reaction to it when I eat too much of it. But however, just going through those processes, I realized that, the way that my thinking was, the way that it developed from youth I was already locked up. And so our thought patterns, the beliefs that we have, those things that are instilled in us can allow for us to be bound in a physical prison, a mental prison, excuse me.
Right. I mean, learning to forgive really, it's one of the most difficult challenges. But we need that to achieve our own healing and our own personal growth as well. So what you're talking about, I mean, everything that you're talking about, again, how we grew up, that's what we were led to believe. Because as children, we're believing the environment around us. But when we come to realize that environment wasn't necessarily healthy for us, and you talk about that. You talk about discovering your past, which taps into today's truth. Yeah. So how does somebody with that past, how can they, and I had to do it, how can they find the strength to say, that isn't my normal and I need to move forward in a new way? How do they find that strength to do that?
Well, first of all, they have to be in a position of tiredness, tired of continuing to live the same way that you're living, tired of continuing to have the same relationships that you're having, tired of just existing and not thriving. Because when you don't forgive, you lose all the capability to reach the highest level that you could in life.
So beautifully said. I mean, oh man, I have goosebumps to reach your own potential in life. And because of these things that happen, a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize what their highest potential is.
Yes. And so once you get past that, get to that point where you're tired, then you're ultimately at the truth of the situation. Right? We may tell the truth to other people. We're so good at keeping promises and saying that we're going to do these things and have commitments with other people. But we are our worst enemy when it comes to committing to ourselves, committing to our growth. I talk about losing weight, committing to the fact that I am going to eat healthy every day. And so once we get out of the space of lying to ourselves and having that truth, then we can get to the space of forgiveness. And forgiveness is only the conscious decision that you're deciding to do something different and not allow the past or even your present to continue to hold you bound. And then powerful words. That's when healing happens.
Yes, like you said, and it is a process. It truly is a process. My healing, I'll just share just a little bit. My healing was over relationships. Because again, growing up, I was raised by my grandmother, and the love, how I was taught to love, really wasn't the love that I really wanted in my life. And when I eventually into my 20s, I mean, I joke now, and I've written about it in my book, that sex, drugs, and rock and roll was my way of life. That's how I lived. But then I got to a place, I use it, just tired, exhausted, and just said, this isn't the life that I want. This isn't the life that I want for my children. And it was enough is enough, but it was a process. But something I learned through all of that was forgiving myself. But what was really hard was that I learned that I had to ask for the forgiveness to free my own self before I can forgive those where the abuse was coming from.
Yeah, you have to tap into your own sanity. It's like putting the horse before the cart, right?
Yes, right.
You cannot literally, help people out there if you need help yourself.
Right.
So you have to do that. And when I tell people and I talk to them about it, it is truly diligent work. It is not going to be something, that's going to, I forgive, I'm healed. We're done. Let's go. Let's move on. No, that's not how it works. I was sharing with someone the other day. I do a mentoring group and on my Forgiveness Nation group on Facebook. And there's a person that I've been mentoring through social media, and they said they weren't ready yet. And the best thing that I could do in the situation with her is to be patient and let her know that whenever you're ready, I'm here.
Right.
Because there's no timetable. People, well, how long is it? I don't know.
Right.
You can have situations where I remember the first time, and it was such an amazing, phenomenal experience where I realized I had actually forgiven someone. There was someone that I worked with, and we had a situation where it just blew up. It escalated. Things didn't go well. And so that person no longer worked with me. And, every time that person's name came up, there was this twinge, this feeling of resentment, anger that came up. And I just kept praying through it. I kept praying through it. I don't want to feel this way. And so that's the thing that you have to remember. It's a conscious decision. Yes. You have to make that decision in your mind. And over as you make it, your heart will eventually line up with it. And so one day someone asked me about that person. Connie, when I tell you, I couldn't even think of the person's name. And then a moment passed and I'm like, what is her name? What is her name? Oh my goodness. And then I was like, I remember, and I said, what? I don't feel that feeling anymore.
I'm
forgiving her, and it wasn't even something that I was thinking about. It's just that I said that I'm going to make the decision every day that those emotions arose. I made that decision. And all of a sudden, when it came up, I didn't even realize that I had released it. It was gone. And that was just such the most rejuvenating feeling ever. So I get excited. Like if something happens, it's like, ooh, I can't wait. It's just so exciting to me.
Wow, that is really powerful message. The one person that I had to forgive through all of mine, it was funny. I was actually in spinning class and I was biking and I was having this and he has since passed. And I was having this conversation with him. Mm-hmm. While I was spinning, right? And we got it all done and my husband looked at me, he goes, who are you talking to? I said, and he was a dancer. So then, we kind of was like dancing and spinning and having this conversation, but it was just really, really funny. But it's just, again, how we change and how do we show up? How do we forgive ourselves? And when we do that, people see us in a different way as well.
Yeah.
The self-discovery, the self-confidence, all of that just comes to the forefront. So, I mean, what you're doing and the message and the work that you're doing is so, so powerful. And just the words that you are sharing. So please continue. Please keep doing that. The Connie Pheiff Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Pheiff Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Pheiff, your Unstoppable Diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConniePheiffShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show. So I have a couple questions before we take off. We have a lot more to go here. But so finish the sentence for me, Kyonna. I am unstoppable because...
I am unstoppable because I was forgiven.
I love that. It's beautiful. So what is your vulnerability?
I guess my heart is my vulnerability. I have the hugest heart for people. Even though I said in the beginning, I remember a while ago, it's like, I don't like people. But it's like, and that's why I have my pet grooming business, right? Because the dogs, they always love me, you know. And I said that based out of all of the hurt.
Yeah.
But once I started to heal and understand the things that I needed to forgive myself for, then my heart became so big that I wanted everybody to experience.
I could just see it. I could see that in you. I could feel that in you. I love that.
That's my heart. That's my vulnerability.
It gets you. So what do you think is the greatest challenge that we're facing in the world today?
Not forgiving.
Yeah.
I just, that's what we're talking about, but that's what it boils down to. And it's just generation of unforgiveness that's passed down. And unforgiveness is actually a taught behavior.
Yeah.
Some people, feel that, I'm making the decision to not do this. But going back to what we started to talk about in the beginning of the show was, the things that we were taught when we were growing up.
Right.
It stems from there. If you were taught to release things, to not hold them, if you were taught, to be in the sandbox and say, it's okay, here, it doesn't matter. You can play with my toy. You don't have to let me share toys with you. You can still play with my toy,
right.
But we weren't taught that. Some people were, but a lot of us weren't. So as the generations are passed down, so is that unforgiveness. And let's talk about what's going on in our world today with George Floyd.
I know.
It's just, where do you get in your mindset to do anything like that? But also you have to look at the fact that this has all been passed down. And so when you look at that, how do you have those positive confrontations? That's the one thing. One of the things that I learned about forgiveness is that even though you've been hurt, you don't want to have confrontation, but it doesn't always have to be negative.
Right.
There's a positive confrontation that can have a solution instead of still continuously creating a problem.
Right.
So we learn how to have positive confrontation. That will allow for a lot of things to be removed. And communication is key in every relationship in the world.
Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you do. Communication is so, so important. And then listen to each other. We need you out there as a spokesperson.
And that's a part of communication, listening.
Yes.
That, a lot of people think that communication is me talking to you and getting my point across. But no, I have to hear what you're saying to me.
Right.
Not just hear, but I need to understand. Because a lot of people in conversations, I can remember in my youthful years, next month I'll be 40, when I'm having conversations with somebody and I really don't want to hear what they said. I was like, oh, I hear you. I hear what you said, but no, do you understand? And not even just understanding, you have to take it a step further and have compassion for what the person is saying. I may not necessarily agree with everything or every person's point of view, but I have to have compassion for that and understand that it's okay. Like, you can't tell me how to feel. I can't tell you how to feel. Right. But we have to get on some level playing field where we can do this thing together. Because we're all in together, whether we want to agree with it or
not. We are here together, and we want to make the world a better place. I mean, in my family alone, we have a combined family, and we're in a good place now. But there was a time when we weren't, you know, because you're bringing in the in-laws and, you know, other people that are coming into the conversation. So we made it a point that when we are having a conversation that we are listening to understand, and that we are actually acknowledging that by saying, I hear you, I see you. We took the words from Avatar. But I see you, and, you know, and so that we understand, you know, each other. And you have those conflicts, you know, within a family unit. Now spread this out across the world. But like you said, we're here to be for each other, to be together. And the one thing that's really paining me right now is, you know, this listening to so many people that are in pain. The silent voices that, you know, and I keep coming back to, how can I help? What can I do? Because I'm not a quiet voice. And I have a pretty sizable platform, and I keep, you know, and I keep going around that myself and say, what can I do to heal the people in pain? And that's something that I've been praying on a lot myself.
You know, I want to talk about this really quickly because this is something I'm really open, honest, and transparent. So during this whole thing, coronavirus, people, the deaths that are happening, you know, it affected my house, not my household, but my family. My grandmother contracted it. And praise God, she had her 91st birthday, April 15th. So she is a strong fighter. But you know, even the loss of, you know, not going to work, and there were some employees that I wasn't able to bring back. You know, there's a lot of loss, and I felt myself disconnecting, like really disconnecting. Yeah. And I have a close sister friend of mine whose son was struck by a car and killed last Monday. Oh. And so there's some more grief, you know, going on right there. And the very next day after that happened, I was driving on my way to work, and it just hit me. It's like, you're grieving, but you're not processing it. Right. You just keep going, because I am that fighter. I am that strong person who perseveres. You know, I'll go down, but I won't come back up fighting, you know. And it was like, you need to take the time to process everything that happens. And that's the one thing that I love about sharing and connecting with people, because you have some people who may be on platforms like we are, and everything's good, everything's fine. No, it's not. You know, I like to have that open, honest conversation. And so I had to deal with it. And so in dealing with it, it's like, this is what's going on. This is why you've regressed. This is why you haven't been on social media. It's like you haven't done a lot of, you know, the things that you used to do. You used to be this funky person, and all of a sudden you just, you're withdrawn. And so just dealing with that, you know.
But that is a valid point, that people aren't dealing with it. And I'm just like you, I'm a strong woman, and like, nope, we can get through this. And, you know, I'm helping clients, and, you know, but was I really protecting myself? So a couple of weeks ago, I had to cancel all my shows. I couldn't have a conversation with someone without breaking down into tears. Wow. Not realizing how much that I was holding that inside of me. Because I wanted to be strong for other people. But I would just have a conversation with someone, and I would just break down into tears. And I'd be like, you know, and then I'm looking like, okay, what's wrong with me? You know, but it's not, but it's, I was just being human. And a lot of us really need to do that, because there is so much pain that's going on, you know, on right now. And I'm open to and willing to share that with people. And no matter who you are, how strong you are, we're still human.
Yeah. And these are spaces that, you know, a lot of people don't look at forgiveness in this area, right? You feel that, oh, you know, this happened, you know, I got to go on. But I had to, you know, get into a space of forgiving myself. And I can see that you did that because you said, hey, I can't do this right now. And that's a part of getting to your truth. When you realize I can't push past this anymore. Right. I have to address this. I have to deal with it. And that's making that conscious decision. So, you know, there may be someone that's listening to this that don't even realize they're grieving over, you know, and grieving doesn't necessarily, when you say the word, you think of loss of life. Yes. Right? But there's loss of business. There's loss of relationship. We are in quarantine. You know, some states they're slowly opening up. You're in loss of connection with fellow human beings. Yes. You know,
we need that. And we need that. We need to be together, and we need that connection. And so many people are still afraid of that. This past weekend, we went green, where we're at currently. So we went out and we said, okay, let's go out. Let's support our local businesses. And there was nobody there.
Wow. You know, we have to still live. You know, and that's what I want to get out. We can go through these things and we can grieve, but you still have to live through it and not just halt. And that's what I did. I halted. Yes. You know, I didn't want to be a part of whatever was going on. And so I just want that person to know you can get to your truth and forgive yourself and heal in that area. This is a season.
It is. Well, just like my son, we had to cancel or postpone his wedding so they decided to wait until next year. And the bride just, you know, she just cried and cried and cried her heart out. But it was leading up to making the decision. It was a really tough decision. So it was just that build up. And again, it was a loss, you know, so we had a toilet paper loss party. So we did like toilet paper everywhere. They, you know, did new pictures, and they sent out the new hold the date card for next year. We used those pictures for the card. They used the pictures for the cards, but that was still a loss. It was still, you know, it was still grieving. So, oh my gosh, I love talking to you. So if there was a song about you, what would it be?
A song that's already out?
No, one that you can make up on your own. Although I was listening to a lot of your stuff and I did write something down, but I wanted to see what you come up with.
Oh, wow. And you want me to sing this song?
No, just name it. I mean,
name it. Okay.
If you want to name that too, to hum a few bars. That's okay.
Fiercely forgiven and favored.
I like that. The one that I pulled from watching some of your work was possibilities of your mind. I don't know why it just jumped out at me when I heard you say that, and I think this you say so how you put words together, it just flows. I loved hearing you talk and the things I did, and so when you said that possibilities of your mind, I went, oh, that's a song.
It's possibilities of your mind.
So Kyonna, what's next? What's your plans after this?
Well, so this past April, amidst everything that was going on, I was supposed to start filming my short films. Back in February, I believe it was the last Forgiveness Friday show. I used to have a talk show every Friday for about 2.5 years. Okay. And I moved into becoming more interested in what was going on behind the camera instead of being in front of the camera. Okay. And I'd taken some courses, and just before everything, I was about to take one of my final tests for my next to last class before becoming a certified TV producer.
Oh, nice.
So that was put on hold, but I decided to do forgiveness films instead of the talk show because, you know, when you go to a movie, you kind of get more emotion involved, and more of your senses are involved. You're actually seeing the scene played out. Yes. You're actually being able to witness the person's emotions, and you have that connection. And so that's my goal. So this coming July, we will start filming. I had to put it on hold, but we'll start the filming in July for those short films. And I'm tapping into the community for those who are out here in the DMV area that are inspiring actors or actresses, or even just felt like, hey, I think I can do that. So just getting together with the community to share these different stories. Tapping into my writing skills to be able to do that. Yeah.
That is phenomenal. That's so great. I love that. So let our listeners know how they can join your Forgiveness Nation and also get a copy of your book. Sure.
So to get a copy of the book and to find out anything else about me, you can go to the website. That's www.KyonnaFBrown.com. That's KYONNAF as in Frank and the color brown.com. You can also check out my coronavirus-inspired podcast called The Healing Incubator. And we release a new, fresh episode every Wednesday. You can find that on Spotify and Anchor.fm. Or you can go to Facebook and you can find The Forgiveness Expert on Facebook and Instagram. And there's also a Healing Incubator page on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can find Forgiveness Nation, the group, where it's just a platform of people who may need some inspiring in that area, may need some motivation in that area. But we're just a community that are sharing different things that are going on with us where we need healing in that area.
I love that. It's beautiful, beautiful. Well, I want to thank you for being here. I could just keep talking to you forever. I love the work. I'm sold on you. So whatever you're doing next, I'm sold on it. And you're always welcome back to the show. And we need to get you on Oprah. Hey, we need to get this gal on Oprah. But thanks, Kyonna, for being here. You've been great.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone for checking in. Be safe out there. Take care of yourself. And please be kind to your neighbors. We need each other. We're all connected. We're all connected somehow. So take care of yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, y'all, it's Connie Pheiff. Thank you for listening to the Connie Pheiff Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconniefeifshow.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.